Hi, boys and girls. Welcome to session 18. This is our last session for SSGS before we begin the inquiry. And it's sort of a transitional session where you're finishing your work on the American Revolution and thinking about who are maybe some other perspectives that we didn't hear a lot throughout this unit, but yet did play an important role in the Revolution before we think about some current day change makers. So today's task is, you may have a few days to do this depending on what your teachers have asked of you, but the way you're going to work this is you're going to look for this, I'm going to highlight it, this page in your paper journal, and then have out a pen or a pencil. If you want, pause this video and go grab those materials, get yourself situated, and then hit play when you're ready. Okay, welcome back. So this session 18 has 3 slides past it. And the reason is because we're going to look at 3 different perspectives that weren't heard as loudly, if you will. We didn't hear and see a lot of their accounts and their events throughout the unit we just took on. So we're going to take some time to go back and say, when we think about the Boston Massacre or the Tea Party or the Continental Congress or those different battles, did women, Native Americans, and African Americans play an important role in that? And in fact, they did. So you get to choose which 2 you want to think about a little more deeply. So of the 3, that is, you have the choice of women of the American Revolution, Native Americans, or African Americans. And so when you're in present mode, I'll shift to that right now. When you choose the group of people you want to research, all you have to simply do is touch the circle color below and it'll take you to that page. Let's practice with Native American Indians, the orange circle. I'm going to tap it. It should take me right directly to that slide. And it did. So basically, it just gives a couple of visuals. The real important piece to notice on any of these slides is the middle image. It looks like a turquoise scroll. And inside it says, click here for resources on, and in this case, it's Native American Indians. You'll click on that to be taken to a hyperdoc. And on this hyperdoc, you'll notice some different links. There's some read alouds, there's an article, even a YouTube video. Your goal is to look at a couple, 2, 3 resources from this page to learn a little bit more about this group of people with regards to the American Revolution timeframe. As you do, it's great to have out your paper journal. So what I could bring your attention to is one of the main Native American leaders and diplomats was Joseph Brant. And so if you were to have, for example, read that article, what I'd like for you to be doing at the same time is having your paper journal out. I just happen to have Notability. But you would go ahead and write down the name of the group of people at the top. So you could say Native Americans, or you could just say Joseph Brant. Sorry. It's up to you, whatever you want to do. If you want to look at a lot of the Native Americans, or just zoom in on one. Then you'll kind of look at this as a boxes and bullets sort of note-taking experience. If you've wrote the name of the people on that line in the blue box, below it, you're just going to write some details and facts that you learn about, in this case, Joseph Brant or the Native Americans in general. And think back to our note-taking lessons you've had both in social studies and in reading and writing to say what really warrants something to be jotted down as a detail. So now that you've taken advantage of looking at one hyperdoc, what you'll want to do is go back to the slideshow. And I got out of present mode. Most likely you can see the bottom where you can scroll to the different slides. Right now we're on slide 66. If I was to go to slide 67, I'll just tap on that thumbnail of it. It takes me to the African Americans page. And again, you'll notice in the turquoise scroll is a link to a hyperdoc that has those resources for you to dig a little deeper. But you could look at slide 65. So take a look at the bottom of this video, look at slide 65. I'm going to tap that. And here is the other group of people that we're going to think about with different perspectives, and it's women. So again, you could tap on that middle scroll, open up the resources, and say to yourself, do I want to take notes on women in general during the era, or do I want to zoom in on one person, like one female? So as you can see with some of these links, some of the names of the women were Molly Pitcher, Abigail Adams. As I scroll down, there's Deborah Sampson, Lydia Dara, and then really that's about it. And then you'll see many resources on just those handful of women. So let's pretend you wanted to think about Molly Pitcher. She's pictured up here in this. Oops, I don't want to open that up, but it's an epic book on it. What you could do in your paper journal is you could write down that you researched women, or you could just write down Molly Pitcher's name. And again, in a boxes and bullet format, jot down whatever notes stand out to say what was her perspective or women's perspective during the Revolutionary War. What were their strengths? What were they known for? And how did they support it? Your last task would then be to summarize all of that together. Notice this box down here, I'm highlighting in green. It even gives you a sentence starter. I'm realizing that the goal is after you've looked at some resources about two groups of people that had most likely different perspectives than our founding fathers we researched a lot about during this unit, what did you come to realize about these other groups of people? Did it surprise you that they, were more involved than you assumed, or that maybe they were taken advantage of? What is it that kind of stood out to you? So as you write this summary, I would encourage it to be minimally 3 sentences. You'll want to mention something you learned from here and something you learned from here, and you can put it into your own words. So this is what you'll share with your teacher. Remember that this slideshow this session has the slides 64 all the way through 67. So use these however it best suits your research and writing. Off you go.